This episode of the Dan Le Batard Show with Stugotz is presented by DraftKings. DraftKings, the crown is yours.
I need a democratic decision from
Democrats?
the group
Denied.
on behalf of the audience, okay? I need a ruling here of some sort because the soft-talking producer of South Beach Sessions who came back in here again and argued with me, now the third time during today's show that he has decided to do that, he has suggested to me that a guest or two that would be important to the telling of the story properly of how it is that I was racist in New Orleans, that those guests to properly tell that story will not be available until Tuesday of next week.
What?
Tuesday of next week. They will be
Joe Biden?
those I don't know why this person is so busy, but this person is critical to the story having support, or I could just tell the story now and we could be done with it because already it's got too much buildup and it's not going to live up to whatever it is you guys expect it to be.
So perhaps I should have said me. Yeah. I don't know why I said Joe Biden. It's getting a little confused here. I just signed with CAA.
Did I miss something, Dan? Was this something that happened that everybody knows about and I'm in the dark in? Or
You're in the dark.
Okay.
You're,
so everybody else knows.
No,
we went hard.
Well, you
right?
might want to be brought into the light because Dan's racist now.
Yeah, we pivoted while you were gone.
What is the ruling? Because for the last 2 days, I will preface the story this way, and just to catch Tony up, if you haven't been listening for the last 2 days, the way that Tony hasn't been listening because he's been working too hard on his top 5 smells in Miami.
New father observations, too.
Right.
You have those still?
Oh, yeah. Wow.
Okay.
So excited.
How long is that segment? How much time do you need for new father observation?
Probably 10 minutes.
10 minutes. Okay.
Just to give me a buffer, and then if we go fast, we go fast. We go
Okay.
slow, we go slow.
All right, all right.
I got one prediction that's in there. Liquidy poop.
Loop.
Is that one?
Maybe.
We'll see.
Wait to see.
All right. If they're the new father observations, and they have now been properly teased. The story, Stugotz, is embarrassing to me.
You're telling the story.
I don't know yet if I'm telling the
Okay.
story, but just to get Tony caught up to where it is that we
All right.
are, all I have told the audience, there are two things that I have promised the audience that I did not get to, and I like to keep my promises with the audience. One of them is the source on whether or not Walter Payton ran not wearing socks in the NFL, which sounds really painful and awful.
Feetness.
That is correct. That was, look, Tony, as if he's hearing the joke for the first time. Right.
Now you're caught up, Tone.
Now you're caught up. That's it. Now you're caught up with that story. The second story is I've simply said for 2 days, hey, and it's been a tease, and people thought I'm teasing to keep the listeners just around to see if they hear the story. Time spent listening. It's one of the reasons our sponsors are so good because we have uncommon listener retaining.
TSL.
That is correct.
Yes.
And this device of teasing Dan's racist story for 2 days would be a good device to keep people around. I'm not doing that on purpose. We're just trying to find the guests who now are not available until next
That
Tuesday.
will increase retaining.
Retention is what I meant to say.
Right.
Thank you, Chris. You speak so well. Why don't you find that sound of you reading and see if we play it here in just moments because you were so good at finding the place where I got caught up in the air. Let's find the most embarrassing clip of you trying to read, and then let's play that in a moment.
Feels like a lash out.
Tony,
I didn't have a bad day
Feels
today
like.
either.
I mean,
Tony, are you a racist?
Rapers.
Whoa!
Tony, do you feel like you're caught up?
Yeah, outside of the racist story, I feel, which you haven't really told anybody, feels
A
like,
rapers.
I feel like I'm good to go.
All right.
Can't.
So,
Feetness was funny.
all right, what's the vote? Jeremy, now or Tuesday? Now or Tuesday? Tell me-
Tuesday. If we need to wait for the proper guests to really put a punctuation on this, Tuesday.
We're putting too much pressure on the story, but Mike, now or Tuesday?
Racism is evergreen.
yeah.
Yes. Not Monday, huh?
Well, allegedly the guests will be available Tuesday. We'll see if the
President's Day on Monday.
Monday's a holiday.
Yeah.
It is.
Holiday weekend.
What's our Monday?
Great American Race on Sunday.
The whites are.
We like the pie.
Who else is voting here? I need a decision on whether to tell the story now. Yes or no? Group?
Well, I mean, I guess we'll have to wait.
I vote we wait.
I vote Tuesday.
want
Yeah.
the-
Wait, yeah, Tuesday. Yeah.
Yeah. You're not going to stop being a racist between now and then.
Right.
That'll still smack on Tuesday.
It's All-Star weekend. You got plenty of opportunities.
The great American racist.
I want to get to this story with Stugotz and the rest of you. This was a Diana Rossini story, and not surprisingly, this is a bit of a pop culture feeding frenzy type of story because at this point in his career, Aaron Rodgers is better as a content avatar than he is as a football player who's going to change your football team, unless maybe the Steelers or the 49ers can convince themselves that the next version of Aaron Rodgers will give him more support than whatever is the Jets' dysfunction. But the story that has caught the last couple of days, and this part, it's just funny to watch an organization that for 40 years has been so desperate for good quarterback play that Mark Sanchez resembles a shining light at the top of their organizational structure because he got to a couple of playoff games. And so, not surprisingly, that desperate franchise handed over to a quarterback who was a little bit brain fried and arm fried, handed over to him a kind of power that doesn't have a lot of precedent in the sport for any position, where Aaron Rodgers was basically doing what he wanted to do, calling his own shots, and furthermore, doing the things that quarterbacks are never supposed to do, which is bring attention to distractions from outside the huddle because you're doing a weekly hit on national television. You're doing a weekly Pat McAfee hit, and you're not talking about quarterbacking all the time. You're talking about Aaron Rodgers Enigma, documentary, Aaron Rodgers, brand of Aaron Rodgers. And so the report from Diana Rossini is that the Jets told Aaron Rodgers no outside media, including McAfee, and that attendance was mandatory at mandatory practices, which is something he missed some last year and just took the fine. And in doing so, they realized they couldn't work together anymore. That if Aaron Rodgers didn't have the same power to do whatever he wanted, and the coach dared to come in and say, hey, you can't make this TV appearance, and you got to be at mandatory practices, that was too much for Aaron Rodgers, and now the relationship is over.
They did things and asked Aaron Rodgers to do things they knew Aaron Rodgers was not willing to do. He was never going to accept those terms, not from that organization. And so you have a new head coach in Aaron Glenn who's saying, hey, I don't care if you're Aaron Rodgers, and he has to do this, Dan, right? I don't care if you're Aaron Rodgers. You're going to do it my way or you're getting out of here. And I don't mind that Aaron Glenn did it. I don't. He has to. He has to save face because a lot of the criticism was exactly what you just spoke about over the last 2 years. Aaron was doing whatever Aaron wanted to do, and Aaron Glenn is simply saying, not anymore. You're not doing it anymore. And I understand that. I do.
It's funny that you understand that, though, but when Pat Riley does it to Jimmy Butler, then we don't understand it. Or like, yes, of course, you like understand right up until the player gets so much power that he actually becomes a problem, but you understand that the entire system, right, all of it, is made to weigh heavy on the athlete not actually having that much power, right? Because the organization showing Aaron Rodgers who's boss now is something that you're like, yeah, but when you could get Aaron Rodgers, you would have given him anything to get Aaron Rodgers.
Of course, but that was a different time, Dan. He was coming off 2 MVP years. I mean, 2 out of the last 3 seasons, he was the MVP of the league and coming to a team in a market that was starving for a quarterback and desperate.
The thing that I find most interesting about the conflict at the height of this particular power is which is actually more valuable at this point? Whatever Aaron Rodgers can actually give you, or Aaron Glenn's in charge now, new sheriff in town. What's actually more valuable?
I'm going to go with that one.
Yeah.
I am, because I saw the old sheriff. The old sheriff was Aaron Rodgers, and it didn't go anywhere. It was
He did nothing. Right.
It was not like it got off to a bad start, unfortunate start, hurt his Achilles. Then he only got a year older, got off to a real bad start at the part of the season where it couldn't. And, yeah, maybe he made the season look better by spamming his best friend footballs towards the end, who may not even want to be there either. It was a disaster on all accounts. And what the franchise was asking is like, all right, it's not working out the way that we wanted. Can you at least give us a break on the PR front? Now, it's Aaron Rodgers' prerogative. I don't like that ask came in, but I understand why it came in. It's certainly part of the equation when you're dealing with Aaron Rodgers. Is this guy worth this headache? And his play very clearly in his time in that uniform was not.
I don't know whether you guys find the business of this part of it interesting, but Aaron Rodgers being in business with Pat McAfee on ESPN for what is reported to be $1 million with all of these guys, Belichick and everyone else, because McAfee cut a production deal that allows him to just slice off a bunch of money for people that he cares about and wants to make content with. And Aaron Rodgers wants to keep both that relationship and that platform available because it's worth not just the
It's a valuable platform.
but it's not.
Don't
It's
you
not
think it's been a worthware investment? Like to
for,
break the
for
model.
everybody.
For Pat and
Yeah,
for Aaron.
yeah, that
Yes.
breaks the model for
Yes.
ESPN.
Yes.
ESPN prior to Pat being aboard didn't pay guests, as far as I knew. Like certain things were worked out in the contracts if a sponsor came aboard, but like a flat fee for that's a whole new business model, and it certainly worked out. It worked out for everybody outside of Aaron, maybe. In terms of optics.
No,
I mean,
it worked
he
for
certainly-
Aaron. It worked fine for Aaron.
Yeah, he's getting paid $1 million, but don't you think like the public perception, the endorsements, don't you think all that stuff took a hit?
But you're just doing it money. You're just doing it money. He doesn't need money at this point. That's not about like I'm saying the $1 million because
he's very charitable. Like the money could help him like do some good work.
But at this point, where do you think the thing has more value? Hey, Aaron, we'll give you $1 million. Here's a weekly platform where you could just say whatever you want, Aaron, and everyone will be listening to your thoughts.
And no one will challenge.
And
Yes.
you'll just be there and you will talk. I think that has more value to Aaron. So much value that he's confident enough at his age if he still wants to play. Okay, Jets. Not interested in your deal. I'll go to the Steelers or 49ers, and I'll still keep doing the McAfee show.
Can I ask you guys a question? Like, because I feel a certain way about it, but I'm genuinely curious. I don't know the answer. I assume we're working at the time that Aaron usually does his hits. So we consume Aaron's hits by social media clips and the aggregation. By the tail end of last season, how much value was there in having the starting quarterback of the New York Jets? And I understand he's a Hall of Famer, one of the greatest quarterbacks we've ever seen personally, one of my favorite quarterbacks. I do find him interesting. I do. I read an entire book with my ears about the man. But how much value does that have, really?
For whom?
For anybody, because like who's
saying
who's tuning
for
in to hear
Aaron.
like
No,
like this season's embarrassing. Like I kind of felt bad for him towards the end of that. Like we're still going to trot him out.
Yeah, but Mike, you have a legend who's willing to talk about that on your show on a weekly basis. He's coming towards the end of his career.
So
like,
you
to me,
think
that's-
I was just curious? I wasn't opining. I
think there's value there.
I
yes.
just read a
Right.
book on him.
I'm famous is more important than good. Attention is more important than not having attention. And you guys keep talking about currency as if it's money. He wants to be current. He wants to be heard. He just made a documentary. He's got a weekly platform on Disney where no one can control what him and his friend are doing. And they're doing it on the most mainstream of mainstream platforms. And it looks like a giant bleep you to whoever the culture is that objects to whatever he might have to say about anything because he gets to do it without objection while he's doing it. And allows him to troll and just feed off of whatever the reaction is because it's at least in part meant to incite a reaction.
But is that going to be the only value?
To him.
Okay, but to like the audience, to everybody, like who's going to keep consuming? I don't know what's happened to the numbers if people's interest waned on it. Let's say he's out of the league entirely. Let's say he chooses to retire. Does he go back and the whole thing is a dude taking exception to a media that is not actually
Mike,
talking about him as much?
I don't actually believe that you're totally understanding what the value of this is in the modern age. Famous, polarizing person. What's he going to say? Do I need to tune in? The entire Pat McAfee model is built like after it got to great success off the further success of Aaron Rodgers kept showing up only there.
But Dan, what Mike is asking is how long will that be able to sustain its value?
No, but this
I
is,
think it's been. Let me be clear. I think it's been great for ESPN when
Yes.
he's a newsmaker. That's cool. I think it's been great for Pat McAfee. I don't think it's been good for Aaron Rodgers.
Okay, and we can argue this, but if Aaron Rodgers gets to answer that, not you. And Aaron Rodgers, if he's willing to leave the Jets in order to continue doing that because he believes it's that valuable to him, I don't think any of us here are really qualified to speak to what it is that Aaron Rodgers actually values.
It clearly has value. He continues to do
did
it.
you read a book with your ears?
I did not read a book with my ears.
By the way, you have Tomlin saying it's okay to do that show still? Like,
Also, like this is something that Rossini said. And even if Aaron Rodgers agreed, the New York Jets might have still settled on we're getting away from this guy. I
correct.
actually think that this has been amplified in the social space because it's awfully convenient. Well, it wasn't my play. It was because I was going on Pat. That had to be it. No, it was your play and that was a piece of it, and they were looking at the totality of the picture.
I I find it to be a pretty interesting thing from a lot of different perspectives, given that, and I know we get forgetful, okay? So the punctuation is going to be, look at the mess he made at the end. But the dude's legacy is that at the position, top 5 all time, and you can argue about however it is that you want to argue about that. And most of those years spent as an icon who somehow replaced Brett Favre, was considered better than Brett Favre, improved the position beyond Brett Favre by eliminating the turnovers, and an icon for all time in a sport where when I'm in New Orleans and Joe Montana walks through the restaurant, I see what still happens all these years later because everybody turns around because Aaron Rodgers didn't win like that, but Aaron Rodgers in terms of greatness is just as great as that guy was.
Plus, he's interesting. Mike, we know this. We had him on all the time. He's an interesting guy, and I think that interest and him being kind of interested and piquing people's curiosity will last well beyond his playing years. Like, I think people are just fascinated with
Yes,
the guy.
I'm fascinated too. Is like what happened here now is like my fascination. Like where did this go sideways? Part of it is we got to know him better as this change in his life happened, where his relationship with his family broke down a little bit. And he started showing us more of himself. But I think it's pretty irrefutable that this hasn't been good for Aaron Rodgers. I mean, just look at the sponsorship dollars. Like, all his legacy sponsors kind of moved on for the most part.
Okay, and I will leave it alone after this, Mike. I understand that you make all the best points in all of the best discussions.
Thank you.
But for you to think that you know what's good for Aaron Rodgers better than what Aaron Rodgers thinks is good for Aaron Rodgers is an arrogance previously unseen from you.
I think his entire public persona has been built on him knowing better than other people. So I'm not going to try to buck my head against that, but we are legion when it's not just me that thinks I know better than Aaron Rodgers on certain things.
Understood that he
responds in kind. Not kind.
He understands that the majority seem to be against him, and you guys are all wrong. Because when it comes to arrogance, you can look in a mirror and see a certain kind of arrogance. And when Aaron Rodgers looks in a mirror, it's an even greater arrogance than yours because he's accomplished slightly more than you have.
And let's not forget that he has a
best-selling book. He didn't make a musical.
I mean, in my field,
debatable.
Yeah.
You think
In my
you're
field,
you think you're the Aaron Rodgers of your field?
Of executive producing?
Huh.
I'm like top 5.
wow.
Look at this.
I'd give him top 5.
I think I'm speaking goat to goat here.
Yeah, him, Paul Pabst.
And I'm Zach Wilson.
Who are the top 5 executive producers all
Gay
time
Stu.
that you're putting your in
Chris
your,
Carlin. I mean,
Yeah, I'll give Paul Pabst his flowers.
Yeah. Hembo. He's terrible.
Yeah.
You think
He's a
you're
good kid. I love him. I know what
Terrible.
Hembo. I love Hembo. I'm a mentor to Hembo. He's a good kid. Okay?
up there.
He's a
How
good
old
kid.
is Hembo?
I have no idea.
He's
29,
not-
30.
Is he
I
a
mean,
kid?
I think I'm up there.
He hides behind the numbers.
Well, you put yourself in the top 5.
Yeah, I think I'm up there.
Mike's a top 5.
I mean, just just tenure.
Yeah. I would say Hawk's a top 5er.
Mike's got 20.
Yeah,
Baba
Mike's
Booey.
a top
You
5er.
believe we've had 2 of the top executive producers of all time?
I'm
in this
Yeah,
so
I'm
industry?
leaving Andy King out, but I mean,
This show is such a creative sandbox that it's allowed me to flex some muscle. Like there are probably way talented producers out there that haven't had the same kind of sandbox because sports radio's evolved. I would say that I helped evolve it.
Travis Rogers.
Thank you
Mention
to
Andy.
Andy King. Yes, good timing.
I also like
between
the
you
20
and
car.
Stugotz. You're
Yeah.
staring right at each
You got
other.
to get Trav in, though.
Christopher Bell.
The idea, and I will leave it alone after this, I promise, that Mike Ryan believes this doesn't have value to Aaron Rodgers as a platform where he gets to espouse for however long he gets to espouse it, 30 minutes uninterrupted on whatever he wants to talk about. Like, my guess is he would take that in lieu of salary next year.
I don't doubt that. I know that he loves that.
He does.
He very clearly does love it, and it's very clearly important to him. That's never been my whole thing. Is has the value? Like he has a value to it. He's assigned it, and that's what's most important. Clearly, I'm saying has it been? I'm just positing. Has it been a net negative for Aaron Rodgers? And if I were to pick one, I'd say yeah, it's been a net negative.
And
for
you'd
him.
probably be right. But then if you're entertaining the business,
Thank you. That's all we finally got down to it.
If
Thank
you're
you.
entertaining the business
5 minutes ago, I wish you said that,
proposition,
yeah.
okay. But the business proposition of this, where Stugotz is asking, does this have attention value next year? The answer might be no. The other answer is It doesn't matter because McAfee and Aaron Rodgers can do whatever they want with that time and money, and nobody else gets to decide. Disney doesn't get to tell McAfee. Nobody gets to decide but McAfee and Rodgers. And that's where it becomes interesting to me because Disney is running a business, and eventually that has to show numbers. But not right now, it doesn't.
Disney did get to decide once, as covered in his best-selling booth.
Thank you. I appreciate all of your help there.
The Jimmy Kimmel thing did ruffle feathers.
He's a top fiver, Dan.
And ruffling feathers is not the same as you have the power to fire anybody because ruffling feathers you can do plenty
They
of.
did force him to go on and apologize, and Aaron did what he – I mean, he may say, I clarified. I didn't really apologize. And he did, like, if you were offended. But, like, they did make that happen.
Yeah, and Mike
booth.
Schur said that after he did some of the stuff that he did that he'd never work at Disney again, and he spent the whole season there doing whatever it is that he wanted with Pat McAfee after that apology. Like, after Mike Schur is telling you, that will never work on Disney again.
You say whatever he wanted. Did he take any other shots at Jimmy Kimmel? Did he take any other shots at ESPN personalities? Like, he was subtweeting, like, you know, maybe SportsCenter anchors, but I would say that put a governor in place. It would. And maybe he wanted to take some more shots, and he couldn't because it was probably a world-class producer that got in everybody's ear that said, we can't do that.
I can't believe that today we have had David Sampson say that he belongs in the Hall of Fame and is better than Darren Ravel, and Mike Ryan just put himself at the top of the Mount Rushmore of executive producers.
Put on top. But I'm top 5.
Right.
Right, you guys.
You're supposed to let others do that for you, though.
I mean, no one's actually putting together this top 5 because it's not that important to people. But, I mean, come on, right? Sports podcast producers, sports radio producers, I'm up there.
Stugotz,
Hank.
I wanted to ask you something, Stugotz, as I see that the Boston Celtics are, again, over the course of this season, they are, beating up Cleveland when they go to Cleveland and beating up New York when they go to New York. And they've been uneven because I don't imagine that they're interested in all of the regular season games. But I wanted to at the trade deadline because it happened loud and fast, and a lot of things got lost in the last week when the Super Bowl is so big that, Deebo Samuel asking for a trade gets lost in the headlines. And there's so many trades.
Wait, what?
There are so many trades in basketball that I'm guessing something I'm about to say has largely gone under the radar with people who don't care about basketball too much. Marcus Smart was the defensive player of the year and at one time with green hair viewed as sort of the soul for why it is that Boston was good.
He was the glue, Dan.
Yeah, but the glue we are turning out to see in retrospect. Whoa, glue's not quite as valuable as we thought it was as glue. Because he leaves. Well, no, but do you know where Marcus Smart is right now?
No idea.
Okay, so
I'll guess.
No, you can. You can.
Memphis? I don't know.
He was.
Really?
Used to be.
Wow. Cup of coffee?
A couple years.
All right.
I saw a picture that I believe was the saddest I saw in sports last week, which was and I was sad because the two people involved had to wear this uniform. Chris Middleton and Marcus Smart wearing Wizards jerseys and seeing the meme go around, who beats this duo? And seeing what happened in general to Marcus Smart's soul. Like, you wore the green hair and you were the centerpiece of rah-rah, we're gritty Celtics basketball. And now as soon as they get rid of you, you're not the wizard we thought you were. You're just a wizard. And
now Derek White is you.
And that's got to all feel bad, right? Like, and I don't know whether Derek White is you or Drew Holiday is you, but whatever it is that you were supposed to represent, I got to think it feels really shitty to be Marcus Smart. Like, as shitty as it can feel for a basketball player to be like, I had green hair and Boston loved me and I was tough and I rebelled and I was the personality and I was a star and now I play for the Wizards. And nobody cares. And Stugotz, I'll ask him again next week, and he'll forget. Like, he doesn't have any idea where Marcus Smart is.
He is making $16.6 million this year.
Who is stopping that duo? The tax apron? Planar phages?
Did you not feel bad for Chris Middleton? Like, that was a champion.
He was a great player. He was a great player.
But he's still, I mean,
He could have been Finals MVP.
This is how
I mean,
their careers go. He's been dealing with
knees, Dan.
injuries.
yeah, right?
Yeah. I mean, he's a Bucks legend, no doubt. Heat killer.
Yeah.
When that guy had the ball, I was always terrified.
Stugotz,
Shot maker.
I know.
Is he a Bucks legend though? I mean,
No doubt.
Sidney Moncrief.
No doubt. He won a championship, dude.
Moncrief. I don't know when Stugotz is ever going to get tired of just the lazy. Danny makes $16 million.
Well, he does. I mean, he plays basketball for a living. Sign me up. I'll play for the Wizards.
The answer's never. He's never going to get tired of that note. It's hard to hit. It's his pay the teachers, pay the whales, pay the schools.
Pay the Wizards.
Yeah, it's his.
They're getting paid.
Stugotz has this lazy reflex of, you know how I connect to the audience? I'm just going to say, somebody make a lot of money, Dan.
You want me to feel bad for a guy who was in Boston, played with the same players that Derek White is playing with, played with the same players that Drew Holiday. He couldn't get it done, and now he's in Washington. But you know what? $16.6 million.
I don't actually want you to feel bad for him. I just want to laugh at the idea that you think grit is valuable. I want to laugh at the idea of Marcus Smart is the reason people win. And last trade piece, get Marcus Smart at the deadline. You'll change your future because he'll play defense. He'll take a couple of charges. We'll gift him a Defensive Player of the Year award because we love grit so much.
Do you think those Bulls teams win 6 championships without Horace Grant and Dennis Rodman?
Yes.
I mean,
Anybody?
So do I.
Anybody? Yes. Anybody next to Pippen and anybody next to Pippen and Jordan would have become Horace Grant and Dennis
They
Rodman.
literally won different three-peats with either without
Yes.
Horace Grant or
Yes.
Dennis Rodman.
Way to go, Stugotz. One of your
I mean,
points.
I answered my own question. I
blew up,
won.
In
blew
the
up right
question
in your
was the
face.
answer.
Yes.
I mean-
Yes. Every single person who was the third player on those teams would have become those guys.
You think they win without John Paxson or B.J. Armstrong?
Yes.
The Marcus Smart arc is really crazy, though, because he was so beloved in Boston, right? He makes 2 first-team all-defensive teams. Then he signs a 4-year, $77 million extension in, I think it was August of 2021. He goes on to win Defensive Player of the Year the following year for the 2021-22 season. The contract extension kicks in. He plays a year for Boston, then gets traded for Kristaps Porzingis. Boston goes on to win a championship without him, and then he gets shipped from Memphis to Washington now. That is heartbreaking.
Marcus Smart.
Excellent work, Chris Cody. That's why you're always the voice and glue that you are, the Marcus Smart of our proceedings.
Top 35.
Not making $16.6 million though.
So I just want everyone to see what Stugotz was arguing there when, hey, Dan, if I give you 2 of the top 50 basketball players of all time, will the third also be good? Yeah.
The Bulls are the example for you, Dan.
Yes.
They did it with 2 separate teams, like interchangeable pieces. It was Purdue, then it was Wennington, it was Paxson, then it was
No.
B.J. Armstrong.
No.
What I
Please,
was trying to tell you.
please, wait, Jeremy, please give me the centers of all of those teams. Just a parade.
Cartwright.
Cartwright.
A river of stiffs. Just a river of balsa wood. Luke, are you kidding me? With the center.
Bison Dele was a revelation.
No, Bison Daly made them 72-10.
I know, he was
great.
a revelation.
No,
An athlete.
No. When they got
Longley.
rid of Luke Longley
Purdue.
and Bill Wennington, and no, wait a minute, who was the big?
Corey Blunt was like a stretch 4
Yeah.
in that he was stretchy.
Yeah.
They didn't have stretch 4s back then.
He wasn't good.
Who was the giant? It wasn't Purdue. There was another giant white guy. There was another one.
Wennington, Purdue.
Longley.
Was it Wennington? Did Wennington win a
The
championship?
guy with the goatee
They
that
all
went down to
did.
his neck.
Wennington won a
That was
championship.
Wennington.
Yes.
I don't want any smoke with a dude that has a goatee, like a 90s goatee that goes down to his Adam's apple. Like, that dude will kill you.
Again,
And probably win the Great American Race on Sunday.
Tony, do me a favor, okay? Because when he says Bison Daly was a revelation.
What a player.
What was his real name?
Brian Williams.
Brian
Yes.
Williams.
No longer with us.
No, that is a tragic story. Killed, I believe, allegedly by his brother. You have to look at how overwhelming that team became when they got Bison Dele. Because I'm pretty sure that's the 72-10 team, and I couldn't believe how unstoppable Bison Dele was because he played with Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen, where I'm watching him, I'm like, I knew that was a good player, but now there is nothing that can stop that human being because I don't understand the intricacies of basketball enough to understand just how much pressure Pippen and Jordan are putting on an offense so that everything is just put back dunks.
Oh, I know this guy.
Yeah.
I saw a documentary on his life and tragic passing. TNT did like a whole bunch of...
It's a short documentary,
Yes.
and yes, and the mystery about how it is, he was lost at sea for a while, and then they found out he wasn't lost at sea, that there was an accident with his brother that may or may not have been an accident.
Bison Dele was added for the final 9 games of the regular season of the 1996-97 season. In the playoffs, he had 5 double-digit scoring games, 1 double-double.
And they were also pretty good before he got there. You know,
Yeah.
97 Bulls.
We left
And
out
Robert Parrish.
We left out Scott Williams and Robert Parrish. That's right, the Chief.
It's just a parade of balsa wood, like a river of balsa,
of
7-foot
knee
balsa
braces.
wood. So many knee braces.
He won so many undeserving basketball players' rings.
Look, this is what I'm telling you. Those 72-10 Bulls would have won the championship with that fat guy at your Y at center.
What a special era in backup big men.
They did.
It's just like Chris Dudley putting his chin into your chest.
Just 7-footers that you could have put a concrete slab in the paint.
All a liability from the line.
But they could all hit a baseline, Jay.
All of them. A little free elbow jumper.
That was Longley's special.
It took them 6 seconds to get rid of the ball. Long release.
But they had all 6 seconds because as they're shooting the ball, Pippen and Jordan are still double teamed.
Chris Dudley's chest hair.
Please put Chris Dudley on the screen right now.
Oh, he's great.
Please find Chris Dudley so that I can show the audience exactly what it is that, again, this was Stugotz's chief point. Do I think that anybody
Parrish.
would have been Horace Grant
Hey.
next to Pippen and Jordan?
They had 15 of them.
Yeah, but the answer to the question is yes, I do think anybody would have been those people. And it is a direct answer to your question. There he is. There he is. Dominating the NBA
What a time.
from the center position. You know what all those guys were? 6 fouls.
Let's get Bill Wennington's neckbeard up there, too, while we're at it.
I mean, Dudley went to Yale.
He didn't get dunked on by Shaq, and then
You're
he
right.
threw the basketball
You're
at him.
right. Yes.
Oh, that's good video. Oh, wait a minute. Guys,
great.
please get that video. Thank you, Roy.
You're welcome.
Chris Dudley's signature play in his NBA career. This is, now keep in mind, Chris Dudley had a career that paid him. I'm going to guess Chris Dudley made millions of dollars for just being 6 fouled. But please get me the video of Shaq dunking on Chris Dudley and purposely trying to hit Chris Dudley in the neck with his nuts. And Dudley all just, backed away, got stuck in Shaq's ass crack, and then from
You can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a
Classic
ball.
Dudley.
an enraged Chris Dudley.
Was this the same game that Chris Childs fought Kobe in? Remember that fight? That was
No, that couldn't have been in the same game.
They only played each other. Look at Kurt Rambis had one of those filthy goatees.
Is that not the dunk that is Shaq's statue? The one on Chris Dudley's neck? Is Shaq's? Play that again, please, so that I can see from the beginning all of the nasty here on Chris Dudley's just being backed up because you can't do anything because it's too strong and he's in good defensive position. And then here you go. Here's some of this. And then I'm pretty
It is Shaq's signature dunk.
He threw a ball at him.
Little hose on Dudley there.
All right.
Yes.
All right.
Chooch.
Okay. I am going to spend the last 4 minutes of what we're doing here analyzing this video with you guys.
It's great.
$32.5 million career earnings for Dudley.
Please go back again to the beginning of this because, and I want you to freeze it for me, okay? In honor of telestrated Hubie Brown now retiring. I want you to
Rothstein, freeze it.
not stop. Okay,
Roll it.
Hold it right there.
Right there.
Just stay for a second.
Right there.
The part that I want you guys to enjoy is as Shaq ends up on the rim and his legs are coming very close to being on Chris Dudley's shoulders. I want, and please don't move it again, or I'm going to have to fight someone in the video room. You just did again?
Yeah.
Well, you're gonna have to go fight somebody in the video room.
Right. Don't move it.
I want all of us to enjoy together the last little pelvic thrust of Shaquille O'Neal that makes Chris Dudley fly into the stands because of the sensuality around Shaq's nether region. Just the hip thrust of a little extra. I'm going to knock you out of bounds with my penis.
Chris Childs fought Kobe the following trip
You're right. Yes.
to LA.
Yeah.
So this is back-to-back years. Always eventful when the Knicks came to LA.
Now, I've done something unfair to Chris Dudley because it's not actually his penis. Shaq just pushes him.
If you see
with an elbow, yes.
if
No,
you
it-
see
his
Dudley,
his hammer's on him.
Dudley with his right arm, almost as if he's gonna.
hooking
You know what?
him, yeah.
I'm gonna carry Shaq.
No,
I'm gonna lift Shaq up.
There is certainly dick to chest. going
There's
on
definite hockey
There
stick.
is, yes.
Yeah.
But the elbow got him. I
But
mean,
the visual for all time of I knocked you into the stands with my penis.
There. Look at Chris Dudley wraps his arms around
He
them.
gives Shaq a little. How's your uncle?
No, there wasn't a how's your
I'm
uncle.
telling you.
there.
Look
How's your
at
uncle?
little bit,
Look at
yeah.
his
looks
right
like a
hand
little
here.
how's
There
your
was
uncle?
not
Roll
a
that
how's
again.
your uncle.
There is
Go back.
absolutely a hey,
Go
how's your
back.
uncle?
No,
Let's see.
let's see it again.
Let's
There's
see.
not a how's your uncle here anywhere to be found. That's not true. What you guys are saying is
Man,
false.
Can you believe that this used to be the highest definition available to us to watch things? I never remembered the picture being that bad. I was just on a square TV. I'm like, this slaps. This is great. This is it. Look at these graphics. Was what I would say on my N64. Wow. Nothing could get better than this.
Watch Dudley's right arm. I'm telling you, there's a little something. Little hup.
I agree.
Oh, yeah.
A little hello.
Yeah, yeah.
There was not a how's your uncle.
Well,
there.
wait, look. Number one
Right,
blocks his
stop.
shot.
Freeze it. Where's that right hand? Where's the right hand right now?
Hey,
Go for a
how
double leg
is
takedown.
your uncle?
So you guys are claiming that Shaq pushed Dudley because there was a how's your uncle.
I imagine in this
Yes.
video, Shaq went, whoop.
All right, and now if we continue rolling this, and forgive me to the audio,
Fine, thank you.
It's the exact sound you make.
forgive. What's the sound?
The-
What's the sound you make? What's the sound?
Pillsbury Doughboy.
No, was that happening to Chris Berman the whole time?
What Stugotz? What? That's
Yeah.
how's your uncle? That's the sound you make.
Yes. When someone, yes, shakes your uncle's hand. Yes. You know what I'm saying.
I don't think you know what the uncle is.
I do.
Rapers.
Whoa.
I saw that buzz.
The thing that I want to accentuate from the video for the audio audience is, after everything we've described, the amount of time it takes Chris Dudley and his athleticism to get up and off the floor, make it so that he's throwing a basketball at a Shaquille O'Neal who is at half court because it's his back and he has already done the hip thrust and pushed into the stands. And so while Chris Dudley, infuriated, threw a basketball a long way, Shaq was much further away from him
Shaq,
than
It's
that.
all Dudley has in that
Shaq,
spot.
famous for his hustle back down the court, too.
I thought there was a lot of good stuff in today's show. Roy is rarely going to have a mispronunciation that's going to help us more than that one. Juju, thank you for being here today. We'll get to the polls with Juju. People are very happy that the polls are back and the updates on the polls are back. But let's start with whatever it is today in the subject matter that sent your way on all the stuff that we were talking about in sports. I would imagine Jalen Hurts was a topic that will catch fire somewhere where they aggregate Stugotz stuff. What did you make of the Jalen Hurts talk?
Yeah, Stugotz said people aren't giving Jalen Hurts credit, and I think that you're just watching the wrong TV shows because the shows I watch, they're giving them tons of credit. So I think that it's time to, you know what I mean, maybe give some new shows a try, Stugotz. You know,
Okay.
Greeny, we love Greeny, but you know, it's just a lot of new and up-and-comers out there who are giving Jalen Hurts a lot of credit.
All right, I am unaware of this, and perhaps it's a blind spot by me. Give me some shows I need to start watching, Juju.
Shoot. I mean, this show, how about we just start off by giving him credit and then we can just watch it back later
All right.
on. You did me?
That's
'Cause
what I
I'm
was.
not gonna give nobody
Jude, that's what I was
no
trying to
free
do. I just
promotions.
don't feel like enough people are. That's all I'm saying. That's it.
Well, but he's
Yeah,
saying, Juju's saying that we could do better.
All right. Well, I did. I mean, what are you doing? Huh?
I'm only discrediting him at every turn. It's my fault. The problem is right in the mirror.
I mean, he's clearly not like Trent Dilfer. Like, he's not in that conversation. Yes, he's not. He might not be Patrick Mahomes. Can't we just agree? He's fine. He's
No,
good
he's-
enough for this team.
he's
like,
really,
why,
really good.
Why does
He's
it have
better
to
than
be?
fine. No, that's the problem, is that he's fine, that the defense won him a title, that the offensive line won him a title. No, Jalen Hurts won the Eagles a title.
No,
man.
I'm arguing on his behalf. Like, yes, he's not Mahomes, but he's not even close to in that conversation of what's he carried
You
there
need to
by
say better
a team.
than fine, though. Fine gives you a connotation of like, he's okay. Jalen Hurts
How about
is
solid?
very, very good.
Solid.
Solid.
No,
better
solid's
than
still
fine?
not good enough.
Solid's
Not
not good enough
right?
either.
Solid's not good
Solid's
enough.
not
Very,
good
very
enough
good. Elite.
either.
He's elite.
See, now you're crazy.
No, that's
See?
too
Thank
much.
you.
Well,
Thank you.
Too much.
I do need to redo my Tony's QB tiers post-season. Now we did a preseason. Now we're doing postseason.
Wow.
Jalen Hurts maybe climb up the ranks.
I do think, though, that one of the things that's happening here is that the analysis of the quarterback position has gotten so carried away that there are many people who would say, well, you know what he is? He's Brock Purdy or some form of Brock Purdy because he's got help, because you're giving so much credit to the help that he has.
No, but the help he had 2 years ago when they almost beat the Kansas City Chiefs was Miles Sanders. I mean, that was the help, who went to Carolina and is nothing now.
Okay, I don't know how much better you guys are going to make Jalen Hurts than Brock Purdy, but I don't mean that as an insult of Brock Purdy. He had MVP-like numbers for a while. Like, there are a lot of places where we're willing to not give credit to the quarterback because how much credit we're giving to systems and complementary players these days.
Solid, not enough. Elite, probably too much. How about a Kirkshin? Really good. Do we like that?
It's a good
You let me do
start.
that, thank you.
Better.
Is Purdy
in my
really good? Is
No,
Purdy
no, no.
really good?
Purdy's good enough.
Everyone stop doing fake Kirkshins.
good
That
enough
is
is
my
different.
lane.
Yeah.
All right. I'm getting really
good.
mad.
Oh, God, that is good.
Also, Jalen Hurts was clearly hung over at Disney World. You feel me? Like going to Disney World right after you win the Super Bowl, it might be a bit challenging. And I challenged the reporter to ask better questions
Yeah.
from a guy who's hung over after the Super Bowl. You feel me?
I don't
know.
I didn't criticize Hertz for that. I just found it hilarious because I got this like eager social media person and they're like, oh, I got my 10 seconds with him. All right, I'm going to interview him. And he just like, I don't know, nothing. And I was
Never seen someone who looks more like they just need to go to sleep 12
Oh, but
hours ago.
Juju, thank you for making that point. It somehow eluded us as a show to make that point. That's exactly what happened there. That guy has not slept, has been partying, and the last thing he needs to do is think. Like, give me questions that don't require me to think.
Right.
It would have been better if he had just said, Jalen, can you just say all the cliches you usually do? Can you just say how important it is to be a part of a team? Like, don't make him think. The man is tired.
Thank you to the offensive line.
I mean, the question was how many unread texts. It's
Yeah.
not like a deep,
No.
about
The guys
Middle
up,
East.
Tony, it's the guys up front.
Big boys
Yeah.
up front.
Don't make him think at all. Don't make him do any math, anything.
Shout out to BG.
Right. Shout out to Tony for being back. Welcome
Yeah,
back, brother. Like,
Yes.
the show
Thank
you,
missed
brother.
bro. You've been kicking ass with Lewis and the MMA hangout, bro. The numbers are going skyrocket. You dig it? So glad y'all got a chance to highlight my boy today. You dig?
Thank you, Tony. Are you going to get before the end of the week to your top 10 new dad
Well,
observations?
it's new father observations in the style of weekend observations, which we
Right.
do tomorrow.
It's not a top 10. It's just 10 minutes long.
Like your
Okay.
racism, that also evergreen.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. Excellent. Thank you.
And the socks.
What else
Happy
was
Black,
Happy Black
Happy
History?
Black History Month. Yeah. And speaking of that, major salute award today for Jeremy Taché for when you got into the plantation talk. He said it's a town in Florida. You dig me? And we needed that out there, Jeremy. Thank you, sir. Hats
Thank
off.
you, Juju. Thank
Important
you.
context. Yes, Chris Cody and his father, Greg Cody, they live in plantation, not on a plantation.
As
in,
do I.
yeah, Jeremy lives there.
in
Also,
plantation.
Allyship. Ooh, oh no.
Do think we need to change the name of plantation.
I just want everyone to know that I live in Davie.
I am getting a petition going, Dan.
And I live in West Palm Beach.
I said to myself, I am getting out of this city.
What else? And it was a moral
That's an
decision.
ally.
It was a
Thank
moral
you.
decision. Ladies
An
and gentlemen,
ally.
an ally. Yes,
Thank you, Chris.
Davie's a strange place,
Yes,
man.
it really is.
It's actually worse than plantation.
Yes,
somehow.
it is somehow.
Way worse.
That's right. That's absolutely right.
I have no idea what it is.
Where the roundup is.
The people in
That's it.
Davie are trying to get away from all those progressives in plantation.
Nothing wrong with the name to me.
Wow! And the first ever Black Zagaki, Blagaki.
Oh man! Yesterday, yesterday Mike said that if the Mavericks could go back in time, they probably would change up the way they did things with Luka. I like to also present that Dan Hurley, wow, if he could go back in time and get a time machine and accept that Lakers gig instead of being high and mighty back in UConn,
He'd have Luka.
he wouldn't be have to hurl insults at people after the game. He went on a rant yesterday. He was mad. He was saying 2 rings after the game. I'm like, oh man, this is getting bad.
His
Also,
arrogance is unusual
This
for a
year in
college
particular.
coach, man. Like he is feeling himself.
Well, he's
man.
won back-to-back titles.
I know,
mean,
but it's rare to have a guy this
Some humble pie.
showy. I like it.
yeah. Also, 2 minutes. Whenever David Sampson comes back down to Miami for snitching and reading Chris's
Thank you.
private text messages live on air. That was,
Inaccurately too.
Poor
Like,
taste.
He didn't even read what I wrote. It was just
How
a
did
jerk move.
the Sampson segment go over, Juju? When it was on, I was like, man, this is really good. This conversation is really good.
Yeah, it was real good. I mean, I don't know if him and Darren Ravel have a beef or whatever, but I think the overall is good that he, holds himself at such high regard and thinks he is the businessman of the year. You feel me? We supposed to all think that, but if it's true or not, that's neither here nor there. The chat had a lot of opinions about
It's
that.
not
but
true. It's not true, and
Neither here nor
it
there.
is both here and there. It's not. It is true here and there that Darren Ravel is more famous as a business person than David Sampson, and over there as well, and over there also.
Salute to the chat as well. Becca Boo, Adam Jameson, Brusco, Chris, David from Toronto, all the people who just support us every day, man. Salute to y'all, man. Hats off. I'm going to get to the first poll now.
So wait a minute. So
First
just random shout outs. They didn't say anything interesting. They didn't give us anything interesting. It's just Juju spreading love for people who are loyal and support.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they say a lot during the, like some people show up to the chat before we even start, and then they're there at the end of the chat whenever we're gone black screen. And I think that support, deserves a shout out, bro. It's like the middle of the morning, they at work or whatever they're doing, they still giving us a piece of their day. So much love to you guys. You dig it.
David from Toronto is like an A1 listener. He's been with us since like the Lauer After Hours days.
Hell yeah. Salute the Lauer Rangers. Go. You dig it.
I think it's P1.
First poll.
A1? That's a sauce.
P1,
A1's
yeah,
a sauce.
A1
Steak
is a
sauce.
sauce. That's steak sauce. Yeah, steak sauce
fine.
also an A1. That's right.
Do you value pennies? 79% of the audience says no, they do not value pennies.
There it is. There it is.
23% are liars.
Should be A1.
Right.
From our hour called Where Donald Trump Was Right.
Nice.
Nickel also 14 cents to make a nickel. That can't be
Shocking.
What are we doing there?
We need to get rid of the
What's
nickel
going
now,
on there?
too.
What's going on there?
Big poll. Do you know what cocaine smells like?
Oh, yeah.
64% of the audience says no, they do not.
Huh.
Neither do I.
Same.
I had a lot of people here. I know you guys feel like we got stuck in the mud on that, but I really don't know what cocaine smells like. And if I'm being honest, I assumed it didn't have any kind of scent at all. I assumed.
The good cocaine, yeah. From what I've been told.
Yes, from what you've learned from sources.
Colombiana.
Yeah.
Yes.
The bad cocaine,
And
though, urine.
Urine, yes.
And a bad smell puts you in a good place. 68% of the audience says no, it can't. Dang.
The
bad.
Orange Bowl. The Orange Bowl.
Damn, but you can close your eyes right now and think of the Orange Bowl and the smell, and it's going to put you in a good place.
Well, it's not. It's going to put me in a good place in terms of childhood memories, but what it's also going to put me at is those ridiculous stadium troughs of urination that are just these
That's a bad
fountains
thought, yeah,
of like just 100 men around a circle because it's an
Let it
old.
rip.
Good
Yeah,
times,
It's, just,
though.
it's
I mean-
not. It's not the most
The
hygienic
backsplash is
thing.
hitting you and you're like,
it's
whoa.
not, it's not good.
That guy's pushing a little
It's
too hard
not-
over
well,
there.
but you know what I'm talking about. This trough, the urine trough
Yes.
at the center of nothing here is civilized. Everything here is barbaric.
Let's go check out the bowl bar.
Yes.
It was the bonfires where
RIP.
Tony lost me. The bonfire,
but
like
you
just a
didn't
fire.
get it.
Just
No,
a
you didn't get it. You
bonfire.
didn't get it.
Like,
You've
how
never
can that be
seen
it.
Miami? I mean,
You've
Next
never
level.
smelled it off Chrome Avenue. That's the problem.
And lastly, I have Invisalign as well, and it has never made me say that word that Roy said.
Yeah.
So we got to give my boy some kind of retroactive fine or penalty box or something. Because, wow.
Rapers. Rapers. Rapers.
I love how someone is starting to talk there and they lay out because Roy is butchering something.
Rapers.
Stan, good job out of you. You're starting to say get, and you're like, whoa, I got to lay out here. Roy's butchering something.
Rapers.
Roy called for the ball. Okay, and Roy lit up because he's like, I got this right now. This wonderful melted cheese corn thing that everyone around here loves.
Rapers.
Dan, give me the ball, and I'm like about to say anything, but Roy wants the ball.
Rapers.
It's unfortunate, man.
Rapers. From fireside conversations to football Sundays, winter means more moments with the coolest people in your life. Make these moments even better with Miller Lite, the great tasting light beer for people who love beer. A new year is a perfect time for friends, family, and a great tasting light beer. Tastes like Miller time. You know, 2024 had its ups, had its downs, had a lot of moments in it. For me, many of those moments, I had a Miller Lite right there by my side. I supplemented my time by making it a Miller time. Why? Well, I'll tell you why. Miller Lite has taste you know you can depend on. No games, no gimmicks, just a great beer for people who love beer. Miller Lite is brewed for taste. It hits different than other light beers, and it has simple ingredients like malted barley for rich, balanced toffee note flavors and that iconic golden color. The original light beer since 1975 and still the very best one. Miller Lite, great taste, 96 calories. Go to MillerLite.com/Dan to find delivery options near you. Or you can pick up some Miller Lite pretty much anywhere they sell beer. Tastes like Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces.